Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Kevin Ryder along with Sergeant Roger Palmer, Victoria Brown, Austin Cook, and Carson Williams. And this is our Food Mart dashboard presentation. Now, before we get into the data, first we're going to discuss our objectives. Basically, when you look at this from a macro setting, our overall objective is to provide a visualization of data so that managers and CEOs can see where the fallbacks are, can see where the holes are in the overall company, not just nationally but internationally as well. Where are the stores that are losing money? Where are the stores that are bleeding? Where are the stores that are opportunities for growth? Where are the stores that they could capitalize on new demographics, so on and so forth? And that's what our dashboard is going to provide us. So basically, we're going to utilize the Food Mart data to create a visual interface to gauge and understand the sales and current progress of each store across not only the United States, but internationally in Mexico and Canada, looking to maximize profitability, improve efficiency, and find overall improvements. So as far as the data, the set we're working with consists of over 10,000 customer records, 250,000 facts, over 1,500 products. This is categorized as a big data set. However, in relation to things in reality, places like Target, places like Walmart have hundreds of thousands of products, changing day by day, constantly changing their product base based on new information that comes in. So while we are looking at big data, it kind of gives you an idea of how big some of these companies really do this. So as far as the questions we're going to answer tonight, how do states and provinces perform against goals, revenue, and percentage? What day of the week is least or most profitable? What are the revenue per demographics? What percentage of population shop on which day, and how much do they spend? So basically on our dashboard, if we were to click any one of these, it would be interactive. It would take us to the analysis that would answer said question. We make this very simple. That's the beauty of dashboards, their simplicity and their effectiveness to really visualize where you can have some success. We're also going to analyze the revenues based upon square footage. We have 2 power views and a couple of tableaus, and we are going to get started right now.
Good afternoon. My name's Roger, and I'll be talking about the first couple of charts. Chart 1 is a bar graph with a line graph on a secondary axis. The bar chart garbled bars represent the actual revenues per store for the period, and the blue is the goal assigned for that store. As you can see, a majority of the stores did not make their goals. Now, these goals were based upon a 10% increase from the previous month, not a continuous 10% increase. Next to this chart, as you can see, there's a thermometer chart. This thermometer chart includes all the stores together, and it shows that they've achieved overall a total of 92%. This question is the most important question. This is the one we did first, and it does address the bottom line for what our group considered. The stores did not meet their goals. They only achieved overall 92% of the goal. To determine this information, we utilized a bar chart with a line graph on a secondary axis. A micro has been installed in all worksheets to take the viewer back to the map page. Also included as tools for the sheets are a power pivot, thermometer chart, and a secondary feeder chart. The next question is depicted by this pie chart immediately below the first chart, and it's controlled by a date slicer that allows you to change the units being measured from years to quarters or days. You also have an interactive filter on the chart that allows you to select specific days for inspections. Based upon this chart, we do know that the days we should be advertising on and when we need to ensure that the trucks have arrived to replenish the stores. If we're not following these particular days, then the adjustments should be made. Our group utilized a power pivot to create the pie chart along with spark lines, drop-down slicers, or a drop-down box and a slicer. Question 3 talks about demographics of our customers. As you can see on this, we see a large drop-off between the 2 through 4 children and the 0 and 5 children. This is a stack chart. It's created from a feeder table, allowed to have a stack column chart. An average if statement and a cluster if statement helped, and then conditional formatting and a choose function with a combo box rounded off the tools used for this chart So when you get into this chart and you look on the back pages of it, the manager will have a lot of good information that can provide him with useful tools. Question number 4, this chart is uses a slicer, and it is a bar graph. It shows each store, and since each store is unique to the square footage, we know that the square footage of the store, and we know what store that relates to. On the back pages, we use conditional formatting to depict the top and bottom 25% of square footage, as well as the top and bottom 25% of revenue, allowing the viewer to see the relationship not otherwise seen. A power pivot started this whole process.
Good evening, this is Victoria Brown, and on chart 5 we actually compiled 3 different charts, and this is percentage of total shoppers per day, average spent, and revenue per day. What we expected was the US to generate the most revenue, but approximately 75% of all shoppers in Mexico come into the store every single day. Therefore, we believe that there is revenue to be gained by putting more stores in Mexico. We can see all of these results by using the form control box to change from one chart to another. We used the power pivot to lead us to a column chart, and a list box helps us toggle between all 3 while utilizing space in our dashboard. On chart 6, we have 2 identical charts with different target values. So here we can see that 8 of our stores are giving us 80% of our business, and 5 of our stores are giving us 50% of our business. There's a huge gap here, and so we can tell from this that there's a lot of stores lagging behind. So this raises the question, do we close 10 stores only generating 20% of our revenue? Also, another factor we see from these charts is the square footage that brings in the most revenue is 14,000 to 16,500, since this provides 60% of our revenue. In chart 7, this is our first power view, and it compares revenue with several items. So there's an interconnection in the power view charts, and when you change one chart, you can drill down into all the charts and you see how it affects them. Here we're looking at revenue by state or province, total children, revenue by store ID and square footage, revenue by occupation and annual income, and revenue by month of the year. So here we take a look at all these demographics in an interactive space to see how they affect revenue and who's our target market. In chart 8, In chart 8, this is our second power view, and this combines comparisons between units sold and revenues in the first chart. And the second chart gives us a count of units sold by product category and product department. The third chart's a pie chart, and this shows the month of the year, and it can be drilled down to which product family you want to look at. And the last chart is revenue by total square feet and store name, which can also be drilled down by product family. The great aspect of Power View is how interconnected they are. So when you focus on one factor, and here we have our Tableau. It shows on the other charts. So we really like Tableau because there's a lot of different things that we can utilize that they don't have in Excel. So the first chart is a heat chart that breaks down the amount of revenues earned based on color from lightest to darkest, which the darkest being most profitable. Here we've highlighting the Washington area because it gives us a good array of colors. The darker color is obviously the most profitable, and then it goes lighter on the way out. The second chart's a geo map, which shows revenues based on city and country, which is showing a similar thing, and then the brighter the blue, the more profitable. In both cases, Washington is most profitable. The third chart's a packed bubble chart, and this expresses a wide variety of demographics. This one shows marital status, the orange is single, the blue is married, annual income, number of kids, and amount spent per each demographic in the store. This chart takes in several series of data and combines it into an easy-to-read chart that's not overwhelming. The final square chart is what shows which product family sold highest across all the stores. So it took drink, food, and non-consumable. These are different ways to present the same data that we presented earlier, and it's in some cases an easier way to explain information to upper management.
Decision makers should look at this tool as just that, a tool. It, along with other tools, will allow the decision maker to craft a final product that will meet the need of the company. For example, looking at chart number 2, we see that Monday is a day that a lot of shoppers are coming to our store. Therefore, we would want to make sure that the stores are stocked. Delivery trucks should arrive early Monday or late Sunday to ensure the shelves are full. If we want to continue to drive up sales, we might want to make sure that our sales flyers arrive on Monday or maybe Friday, because our analysis is that Saturday is right behind Friday for days that people shop the most. Or we might want to take a different approach and say, get the flyers to our customers on Monday so they can have them for the midweek where there's a slowdown in sales at our stores. That decision would be made using our dashboard along with other tools the manager has at his disposal. If the company is looking to expand quick, glancing at the dashboard will indicate that Mexico would be a good choice to expand if other factors provide the same benefit. When a decision is made and implemented, the manager would then watch the dashboard to see if the change produced the expected results. These are ways that a manager will be expected to use this well-designed dashboard. Next, we're going to talk about lessons learned. The biggest lesson learned by our group was the difficulty in deciding what question needed to be asked and how. Obviously, looking at macros and other data, there's a lot of big data. There's a lot of information to derive from it. It can be fairly easy to make a chart that reflected the available data. However, it can be difficult to decide what question we needed to ask. The other issue we ran across was missing and incomplete data. For example, we wanted to know what time of day people shopped at our stores. The data reflected that everyone came in at the same time. We also wanted to match up stores to customers. The data was incomplete on the store's location. To overcome the difficulties we faced, we brainstormed and attempted to come up with realistic assumptions and questions that a manager would want to have the answers to. Another step to overcome this difficulty was just to realize that not all the data was available to us, and to make the best effort and approach the data with realistic assumptions. Lastly, we did some research to get more data, and we made additional charts to provide us with the latitude and longitude of the stores. Working on a dashboard was a great learning experience that our group feels will help us greatly in our future endeavors. When asked to produce a report or dashboard for review by upper management, we now know the skills to create a dynamic and eye-appealing dashboard. Our dashboard will be interactive and with relevant information to be presented, and digestible but not overwhelming to the eye. One manager I spoke with, and also from just our personal experiences, that dashboard and other macros and tools are very great to break down data and analyze it. Obviously, big data is here, and managers want to be able to analyze that data to drive information. This is the day and age where you snooze and lose. The decisions can cost millions of dollars to upper management, stockholders, and customers alike. A well-designed dashboard will provide them with the needed information necessary to make future decisions and outcomes. Lastly, the future direction of dashboards is onward and upward. We see no regression in the application of a dashboard. Companies are making money selling books on how to design dashboards, and there's many webinars across the country and information online to utilize these tools. We see no end in sight for dashboards, just the end for a manager not using one.